All right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. Still in training for the wine drinking Olympics here at the Wine Watch. And our good friend David Arthur Long is coming in. And let me tell you, man, he is a lot of fun. He'll have you drinking tequila shots at the end of a dinner. And we've got him in town for a barbecue here at the Wine Watch. We're going to be doing a whole pig and showing all of his new releases and the old releases and what the hell, whatever we got from David Arthur, and who knows, maybe we'll even bring in some tequila shots to finish off the night. Well, anyways, this was a tasting with Adriana from Adavino. She's the company that markets these wines here and helps Southern Wine and Spirits sell them. And although David is the second guy up on Pritchard Hill, they bought property up there in the early 70s. He's a small producer. A lot of people still do not know about David Arthur Long and his wines. And let me tell you, for me, Pritchard Hill is sacred ground. Everybody up there is producing wine at another level. You know, the Mondavi family now up there with their Continuum. You got Gandona Estate up there. You've got Bryant. You've got Colgan. You've got wines that cost a lot of money. Actually, there's no cheap wine coming from Pritchard Hill. Well, the Chapelets make a few entry-level cuvées, but the dirt there is real expensive, and it is limited as to what they can plant. So let me tell you, if you have Saturday night off the 31st, you want to make it to this event. It's only $100. And his Elevation wine, still the cheapest top-level wine made on Pritchard Hill. Anyways, we started out with some other stuff because Adriana's got a really nice book of small producers from California. And this R2 Big Bend Chardonnay, although Roger Rossler has been in the business for a long time, he sold his label and created this one, he still doesn't seem to have a knack with labels because I hated the packaging here, Roger, sorry. And that's not really what's the most important thing. The most important thing is the wine. The wine is pretty good. So there is a silver lining in the cloud here, Roger. This wine's got a nice amount of tropical fruit here, peach, a hint of buttered toast there, some juicy tropical fruit on the tongue with a little butterscotch and the nice freshness on the finish here. Very good little Chardonnay for $26.25. David Arthur Chardonnay up next, and this wine kind of eclipsed that little Chardonnay because, man, this is probably the best Chardonnay I've ever had from David Arthur. 2013 really helped. That was a great vintage, and he doubled his production this year. He added in a little fruit from Atlas Peak, really cool area, very good for Chardonnay, and then the Oak Knoll district where he had been getting his fruit from before. So there's 618 cases, a ton of Chardonnay this year. Hardly. Very bright and focused, though. This wine's got a lot of lovely lemon drop candy fruit, a whiff of toasty oak spice, lemon blossoms, really wonderful concentration and depth here. This wine even better on the second day. I love how the nose evolved, and then the palate seemed to get even more juicy and fruity, and just the right touch of oak spice in this wine, and a lovely firm hand of acidity holding everything together. Most excellent juice at $69.75. All right, back to the R2. Black Pine is the name of the Pinot Noir, and he's getting juice from all over California for this wine, and 4,500 cases, so a little bit of this wine out there. It's got some nice raspberry fruit, pretty floral notes, a hint of dark spice, a light and easy drinking Pinot on the tongue, a really smooth finish, a good wine, the least impressive wine on the table. This tasting, and for $29.25, maybe a little bit expensive. The R2 Rhapsody up next, and this is a Rhone-style blend of Grenache, Carignan, and Mourvedre, and probably the hardest thing to sell in California, these little Rhone blends, unless they get huge scores, and your name's Manfred Krankel, and it's Cinquanon. But this wine's not that expensive. It's got that dried herb and floral notes, a hint of earth, and a really smooth, silky texture on the palate, that pretty floral and herbal note showing on the finish. Very good little wine at $28. But like I said, from the package, these wines are kind of lacking identity to me. And although they look similar, just didn't do it for me. Anyways, the wines are very good, though. Like I said, the silver lining in the cloud. Next up, some Dancing Hares. This is a small vineyard that's located on the foot of Howell Mountain. And this one, both of these are from the same vineyard. Basically, the same blend of varietals, just a different percentage of grapes in there. The Mad Adder kind of had it as their second wine, 2011. Both of these wines from this cooler vintage. A much troubled vintage by the press, and a lot of collectors have shied away from 2011. But I'm telling you, there's some very good wines. You just have to wait for them to go on sale. And they need to bring in the 2012s. This blend, the Mad Adder, really nice dark currant berry fruit, a hint of that wintergreen and peppery note that you get from cooler vineyards, some nice toasty oak spice, bitter cocoa, really smooth and easy drinking though, some dry tannins at the end, but enough fruit here to match. Note of that peppery spice at the end, a very good wine, $64.50. All right, the Dancing Hares, the top wine here, very similar blend, but a little less Cabernet this year. A lot of Cabernet Franc and a fair amount of Merlot in this blend. A lot of dark spice here, that bitter cocoa, that wintergreen, the dark earth, kind of compelling dark currant and cassis berry fruit. Really nice complexity here on the nose, and nice complexity and fit on the finish here. This wine's a pretty big wine, really excellent wine, but unfortunately, this 2011, it's going to be hard to sell at $157.50 a bottle. Ooh, the David Arthur Meritagio up next. And this wine is one of the first Sangiovese blends in Napa Valley. And the story is that it's a brainchild of the Long brothers, who were sitting there drinking wine together. And they had a bottle of Cabernet, and one of them had a bottle of Sangiovese from Italy. And they said, hey, what would it taste like if we put our Cabernet with the Sangiovese? And they tried it after they'd been drinking quite a bit, probably. And they liked it. So they said, let's put some Sangiovese up in the vineyards, and we'll make a little Super Tuscan here. So it's a really nice little wine. I don't know if it reminds me in any way of Tuscany, though. But that's my problem with the Sangiovese blends from Napa. They taste like Napa Cabernets. The Sangiovese gets overwhelmed by the Cabernet, and although this wine does have a little bit of that Sangiovese zest and freshness at the end, close your eyes blind. I don't know that you would know that it's in there unless you're a very skilled blind taster. But a really nice wine, offering up some excellent, some really nice ripe dark cherry and currant berry fruit. This 2012 vintage, very appealing. And although this is Pritchard Hill fruit and these mountain wines need a little bit of time, this wine is very showing and an excellent little example of a Sangiovese Cabernet or Bordeaux blend. $61. And then the Elevation. Wow, man, this wine is a showstopper. It always is. And they raised the price this year. It's over $200, $217. But to me, it's still one of the best values coming from the hill. You can call a $200 wine a value. Well, this is a wine that you could keep for 20 years. And to me, that is what you pay for when you're paying for a wine over $100 or $200. A, reputation. And these guys have been up there since the 70s, so they're not a new winery. And B, do they have a track record of making great wines? And is this wine going to age? These 2012s, like I said, are worth the money. If you like big Napa Valley Cabs, which is what this is, even bigger on the second day, that espresso, the dark chocolate, really big, and a lot of minerality in these wines. That's one of the things you get from Pritchard Hill. Big and chewy wine on the tongue. This wine has got that mountain heritage, though. You're going to need some time. It is long and layered on the finish. A bit dry still, the tannins. Give it 10, 15 years in your cellar or more if you like older wines. This wine is killer juice. That's what we had to drink with our friend Adriana from Ottavino. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off from the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.